I have 5 wisdom teeth. I don't know where the other one came from, but that's usually the fun fact I go to. I'm nothing against Hawaii, but maybe Hawaii just because it's kind of, far down there and it's not really a part of the continent. They're both supposed to be guarding the tomb of Jesus, and Josh says, Drake says, what? Where is the body of Christ? He calls them memes.
I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard about those memes.
Okay. Oh, on Instagram. Well,
What happened?
it was staged. And I think it's just because they're jealous that I was born in Germany. But usually they're like, you can't be president. I'm like, I don't want to be president anyways, so that's fine. And I think I still could be if I wanted to. That's usually the fun fact I go to. I was born in Germany because my dad was in the military. But I was only there for 8 months. People usually ask me, like, do you speak German? And I was like, well, I couldn't even speak English when I left because I was only like a few months old. So no. I also don't have dual citizenship.
Oh, I was about to ask, are you a German citizen?
No. I guess I could be, but yeah. Usually what people say, and I think it's just because they're jealous that I was born in Germany, but usually they're like, you can't be president. I'm like, I don't want to be president anyways, so that's fine. And I think I still could be if I wanted to.
Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Reston, Virginia, and I'm a Teach for Christ missionary. I graduated from Franciscan University in May of 2020, and I majored in both history and philosophy. I originally was an education major, but I decided that I wanted to just delve more into some content areas, some of the theology and history and philosophy classes at Franciscan. I was thinking about being maybe like a high school history teacher in a Catholic school, which is why I chose history and kind of just delving more into that content. And also Franciscan has great theology and philosophy programs, so I wanted to do one of those, and I just chose philosophy. So. Well, when I was in college, I was thinking about teaching at a Catholic high school, but after I graduated, I got a message on LinkedIn from Teach for Christ, and they basically just asked me if I had heard about Teach for Christ before, gave me a basic idea of its message, and so I looked it up and found out more about it and decided that I love to do it because I really agree with the mission of Teach for Christ. I kind of just had a good feeling about it, and had a good feeling about the interview. They had these quotes on there, and I think this one is from St. John Bosco, but it says, without love and confidence, there can be no true education. And I really liked that, the idea of incorporating this passionate love for God and for students into education. So maybe just hearing the words of holy men and women that have been educators, and telling other people what it means to have that vocation as a teacher, I think that that's something that definitely piqued my interest and drew me more into Teach for Christ.
I signed up for Teach for Christ like a week after I found out about it, and then like 2 weeks later I was in Minnesota. Well, I'm from Virginia, so I drove all the way from Virginia to Minnesota. So I was a little like, what's going on? Where am I? How did this happen? I guess I had some concerns and I guess some worries about, will this be the right thing? This is kind of far away from home. But it was always accompanied by the Lord's presence and also, just remembering why I wanted to do Teach for Christ in the first place. So I think I also was while I was kind of disoriented, I was also excited and trying my best to trust in the Lord and where He had led me. I think one of the main things that I enjoyed about training was just having a good period of time to get to know the other missionaries, the people that I'd be serving with, and getting to just grow and learn more about God and about teaching with them. Things are, I think, always better when you're in a community. So I think that just having, especially after being in quarantine and everything with the coronavirus, it was nice to just be in a group of women, growing in this next stage in our life, growing closer to God, and having that time of preparation with them. I think it was hard, honestly, it was hard getting up so early again, and also just having such like a schedule again. It's kind of like, oh, schedules, like being on time for things. Yeah, and I think another difficult thing is just trying to trust God in whatever situation presented itself throughout training, whatever it may be, like growing in relationship with people in community, or a little bit of worry about, well, what am I going to end up doing? Like, which school am I going to be placed at? So I think things like that, just, trusting that God would bring good from it all. I really like serving at Chesterton. So I went to a Catholic high school, but it was pretty big, and I didn't experience as much of a Catholic community as I would have liked. What I love about Chesterton is that it's very close-knit, it's a smaller student body, and it's really like a family, which I think is how Catholic community should be, because we're all a part of the church, but we're also all a part of this smaller Catholic community. And I think that, yes, like that is made up of families that that send their kids here, and that, like none of it could happen without that. But just being at a school where the faculty have been, loving and pursuing the Lord while teaching for a very long time, that's a beautiful witness to experience, and just learning from them, and falling more in love with the vocation of teaching, and just being a Catholic. And then also just having the ability to grow in relationship with the students here. There's a lot of them, because they're at a Catholic school and because their families are Catholic, they know about the faith. Some of them already have like a deep relationship with the Lord, but others, need to be more encouraged in their relationship with the Lord. And I think it's just a good environment to encounter people wherever they're at, and to be able to talk about the faith with freedom. And that's why I wanted to teach in a Catholic school in the first place. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's anything you want to put on.
I mean, what is it? Just tell me what's it.
Like, I'm thinking about one time, one of the guys said, well, this is why you might not want to put it, but he said, shut up, to one of the girls. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, you cannot talk that way to women. Like, you cannot say that. And I said, you should treat women like they're princesses. And he was like, hold up. And then I was like, well, not like in a bad way, but just like you honor them as if they were royalty. And so then, like one of the guys said something to him, and the guy looks at me and he says, shut up. And he's like, that's a guy, I can do that. During the sophomore retreat, I gave a talk, and my talk was the first one of the retreat. And after every talk, we would have a small group. And so me and the other girl that were leading our small group said, well, was there anything that stood out from my talk? I didn't word it like that, but you know what I mean? And one of the girls said, yeah, as soon as you started praying, it was like this, I forgot how she put it, this like heavenly presence came upon you, like you were just glowing. And I thought that was so sweet. And also it was affirming to just, to know that the Lord is working through me, and that
He's using me to speak his words to them. The reason I went to a Catholic college is because in high school I really wanted to be a part of a passionately Catholic community. And I was able to find good, solid Catholic friends that encouraged me in the faith when I was in college, and also through doing some other mission work was just able to really experience the joys of being in community and being known and loved by other people. So I think I was more excited than anything, especially coming out of quarantine, just to be a part of a group of young adults that love the Lord. That's a really unique and special thing. It's been different than other communities that I've been a part of, because I think, so in college, you don't, at least in my college, I didn't live in a house with a bunch of other women. I lived near them in other, in dorm rooms, like on a hallway. So I think that it's much different, like living in a house and sharing household chores and just kind of your everyday lives with people. It's also been very rewarding, because it's important to just share your life with other people, especially if it's a new experience that you're all going through together. So to be able at the end of the day to share dinner together, or just talk about great things that happened through the day, like the student said this to me and that really affirmed what I was doing, or the student said this and that was hilarious, and then we all laugh about it. I think that it's really awesome to be able to share those experiences with other people, and that's something you don't get if you're just living alone. And also just to have people to support and to just affirm you and to say, like, I see the good that you're doing, and to know like the difficulties of it, in the same way that you do.
Maybe if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine.
Okay.
When you slipped on
on Instagram. Well,
what happened?
It was staged. Well, because Mallory had just mopped the floor, and she did this because when she did the Instagram takeover, she was doing a time lapse of her cleaning the kitchen, and that included mopping. And so I was like, what would be a funny addition to that is if one of us, like pretended to slip. So she didn't end up posting the time lapse. So all that happened was there was a video of me slipping on the floor, which I didn't know it was going to be like that. Which, it's fine. I was like, well, now this doesn't make any sense, and I just look like an idiot, but it's fine. Not the first time. Yeah, I definitely feel that this is helping me get experience in teaching and in just being a young professional. Because I had a little experience teaching and being in a classroom in front of students, but this year I've had the opportunity to do a lot more teaching and to do it in a structured environment, in a school environment, kids in uniforms, all that a Catholic school entails. And I think that it's really allowed me just to kind of confirm that, hey, this is something that I actually really enjoy, and it's very fulfilling. And so I think that I definitely would feel more comfortable like going and being like a full-time teacher now that I've had this delving into and this experience with teaching. So you definitely don't have to be an education major to do Teach for Christ. Part of the beauty of this kind of program and this kind of mission, and what interested me in the first place, is that you use your knowledge from your studies and your college experiences, and you use that and you try to apply it within the context of a Catholic school and a classroom, and you get the opportunity to see what it's like to be a teacher, to kind of dip your toes in and see, is this something that I'm interested in? Because at the beginning of college, I wasn't sure if I wanted to teach, so I didn't want to commit to doing that as my major, but it's awesome to have alternative ways of figuring out if that's a career path that you're interested in. So definitely this is a good way to just get a little bit of experience with it. And we do, Catholic schools are more than just the teaching. There's
There's also, you know, relationships that you build with the students and putting on retreats. While I do want to be a teacher, I always want to be, as a teacher, a missionary. And I think that that's a very important and component part of Catholic education, that every teacher should have this mission to teach each student as if they were Christ and to be Christ to each student.